Hi there, this is Bonnie from Lavinia World DT, and I had already shared a really quick video with you showing a couple of the new sweet poppy stencils that Lavinia World got in. And this is the one that I decided that I wanted to work with first. This one is called, I cut this off of the plastic bag, the Fairy Lantern. And it is very similar, or it's the same design as the stamp, but it is a lot larger. And I wanted to go ahead again, even though I shared this in the other video, tell you how big this one is. It is about 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. So that tells you about how big of an area, if you decide to use this whole thing, that you will need to prepare for your project. So let's get started. I have a little tip for you that I read on the Sweet Poppy site. Because these stencils are metal, they suggest for you to use a magnetic base. Now, I know that I probably have a Spellbinders base someplace, but I don't have it here. So I thought, what else do I have that's large magnetic? And I have these dividers that I put my dies on. And I pulled one of those out. If you can see, I don't know if I can show this to you. It doesn't really, there's a little bit of a shadow to this. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little bit of a shadow because it's not pressed firmly down. Now when I hold it, it would be. But if I want that to be secure, all I have to do is put this on top of a magnetic base. And this because it's a little bit larger, it's going to work. It's totally secure and snug. So now we can get started doing what we want to do. All right, so I've decided to try with the Distressed Oxide. I'm going to go with a Wilted Violet for the very bottom. And a little bit of this will be on the very bottom of this little lantern. But that's what I'm going to do for each one. And you can see how the ink is on there. I'm going to do that for each one of those. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got all of the Wilted Violet put at the bottom of these lanterns. The next one I'm going to do is Broken China. And I am changing out the size of my brushes because of the size of each of these to kind of like work better with them. And I want to do, each one of these is a little bit different. So I wanted to add the blue to the centers and a little bit at the bottom to blend in with the violet, Wilted Violet. So I'm going to do, and they kind of like blend in. It's going to pick up some of that purple, and as you know, blue and purple blend well together. So I want to do that with each one of these, blending them up, leaving the tops of these lanterns a little bit. I'm going to leave them a little bit lighter, but it's really kind of pretty how they're blending together, if you can see that. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. You can see how they're blending really quite well. It's harder for me to do this with the filming right in front of me, and it's harder to see what I'm doing. But I thought if I did it a little bit closer, you might be able to see better. So I actually can pick up some of the ink from down below too. But I think you're understanding now what it is I'm doing. So you can see how each one of these will have a gradual change in color. Just depending on how much purple has been at the base. So you keep that in mind too when you go to add your purple at the bottom. If you decide to do these color combinations. And obviously this one's going to have a little bit more blue, unless I would have added more purple on the bottom. Now I don't think I said I am actually using watercolor paper. I wanted to give myself the option to add water if I decide that that's what I wanted to do in the end. This is really quite fun. Now you're also going to wonder about the foliage coming down from the top. I am going to use another color, and I'm going to need a smaller brush. And that's what's kind of nice about these blending brushes. You can get them in a set, and Lavinia World carries this set of different sizes. I'm just kind of twisting this, pulling up the color going up. There'll be a lot of things that we can do afterwards to add a little bit of highlights also. What I am noticing is if you put your fingers on the ink at all, it will get on your hands, and it will get on what you're working on also. So that's what I've done so far, and I'm going to go ahead and add another color. Alright, so the next color I'm going to use is Shabby Shutters, and I am going to use that at the... I decided I wanted to do the green at the top first so that it could blend in with the bottom. So I'm going to completely flip these upside down and go this way. So they might eventually need some highlighting to them once I take this stencil off. But this is going to take me a little bit of time. So I'm just going to do this one, I think, and then I'll do the other ones and show you what it looks like. But I wanted to have the tops of these with a teeny tiny bit of green so it can blend in with the next color. And I think you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do that with each one of these, and then I'll be back with the next color. Okay, so for this last color, I'm going to use Scattered Straw. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use antique linen, but I think I wanted a little bit more of a yellow cast to these lanterns. So I needed to pull out another brush, and I'm picking this one, although I think I would have liked to have used this one, but I didn't clean it off. So I'm going to go ahead with this one so I can finish this project. And like I told you, I was trying to blend these, but I think I'm going to come from the top and go down into the blue. I just am wanting to blend out these colors. So if I find out that I want add a little bit more color to it, I can. I do really like that it looked like it was highlighted without doing anything. So I might end up adding something in the end to highlight it again. But I just want enough of the ink just to blend out the colors so that they're blended. Let me pull that close again for you so you can see what I'm doing. like I said, I'll probably highlight them in some way. Let's see here. But I'm getting excited to see what the reveal is gonna look like, because I haven't peeked because I didn't want it to move at all. But before I do that, what my plan is I am thinking that because I want to be able to do something for the background without these being ruined, because this is a water-based ink, I want to seal what I have done just on these. So what I am going to do is I am going to use a embossing dauber, and I am just going to emboss on top of all of these and use some clear embossing powder. So I'm going to need to do that quickly. So I am going to do that off camera, but all I'm going to do is I have an embossing dauber, and I'm just going to emboss all of this, and then I'm going to sprinkle some clear embossing powder, and then I'm going to heat emboss it. But I will show you the reveal before I do that, before I put the embossing powder on it. You know what? I decided that I'm going to go ahead and do this in front of you and just speed this part up. The embossing might not work, but I still wanted you to see the reveal. So that's the reveal to what we just did. And I'm going to see how much embossing powder I can get it to stick on here as it is. All right, so I completed that, and I did add the clear embossing powder, and that did work. As you can see, I've got the glossy part of it, so you can see that it will be sealed. So I can add a background to this if I decide to do that. I also wanted to let you know that I did clean the stencil with water, and you should go ahead and follow the directions though that are in the Sweet Poppy site for letting you know how to clean them. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please please subscribe and share, and come back every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to see what the DT create for their tutorials. Thanks so much.